Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Establish the Runs NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here with Mike Gallagher, walking through tonight's four-game slate, little small slate for a Monday. Nice way to kick off the week after a big Sunday slate of action. 11 games yesterday had us working long hours yesterday, Mike. So how are you doing today, starting a new week on a four-game slate?
Yeah, doing good. Had a pretty nice weekend. Got some delicious pizza. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Eric Spolstra winning a Miami bet and then getting really good pizza because of it for free is a good weekend and a nice little hike that Sam and I did. Piesco Peak. So pretty good weekend. Good. Pretty. Not we have a really high bar in the prop streets, but still pretty positive overall. So yeah, feeling pretty good. Ready for this little baby slate today.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it and get in and out of here quickly as we will save the hour-long shows for later in this week. I'm sure there will be plenty of them. Let's get into the slate. Let's start New York and Boston. On the Knicks side of things, Evan Fournier listed questionable for personal reasons. He's not in the rotation, so I don't think it's really of note. The Knicks are on the second night of a back-to-back here after the afternoon win over the Hornets that was relatively easy yesterday. They traveled to Boston, a little quick trip on the train or the plane. Let's get to Boston. What are your expectations for the next rotation tonight?
Yeah, run it back situation. Minutes were pretty light, so we should see quite a bit. Mitch Rob's minutes have been pretty strong this year. Kind of a tough matchup. Boston's interior defense is really good. Number 2 defense overall behind the unstoppable Wolves. But yeah, we should see similar situation. We know they're going to run Quentin Grimes, picking up the Tatum matchup, but Quickly's playing great. He's been one of the best pick and roll handlers in the NBA, so he'll get his. We'll see how tight they go. Certainly, they would want to get this game after dropping the opener in a division game at 5-4. Pretty decent start despite some offensive sputtering from the Knicks.
Boston side of things, nothing really to report on their injury front. They are not involved in any side of a back-to-back here. They play next on Wednesday. No in-season tournament game for either of these two teams tomorrow. Any notes on the Boston rotation?
Nope. Should be pretty tight here. They're going to run a lot of Al Horford. This 6-man group is pretty strong. We'll see how tight they go. Nothing really to note here. Tatum's been freaking awesome.
We should note none of these teams today on the front end of a back-to-back. All these teams are clean and not playing an in-season tournament game tomorrow. Moving on to Washington and Toronto. On the Washington side of the equation, Danilo Gallinari, they are on the back end of a back-to-back. Danilo Gallinari is going to rest on the second end of the back-to-back. So no Gallo, no DeLon Wright. How do you think that impacts things for Washington?
Yeah, they'll probably run a smaller-ish rotation. We saw Bilal Coulibaly pick up a bunch of minutes because Daniel Gafford hurt his thumb. It looks like Gafford's going to be okay. Probably will have it wrapped up. He's had thumb injuries before. But yeah, they'll probably bring Mike Muscala back into the mix to play the non-Gaffords. We'll see if Gafford pops up. He's not listed, but it should be good. And a matchup that's tough for bigs. But there could be some elevated minutes here. Kispert, and then obviously they don't have DeLon Wright. They didn't have DeLon Wright kind of going into the weekend. And Wes Unseld had mentioned that Johnny Davis was going to play. He did not play, so I would expect him to play today with Kispert and Shamet also locking in. So yeah, you're switching in Muscala, and then I think that maybe they do run a 10-man with Johnny Davis in there. Denny Avdia did get a bunch of minutes yesterday, so maybe he comes down a little bit in a back-to-back.
Yeah, it was surprising the fact that no DeLon Wright. You would think that would open up more Johnny Davis playing time, front end of a back-to-back. You would think that would open up a deeper rotation. They ran 9 fairly tight here. Everybody, except Gafford played 20 or more minutes in this game. Avdia had a really, long leash in terms of the minutes. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, 6 for 18, but got up to 38 minutes. So kind of an odd box score for the front end of a back-to-back. Would expect, as we have seen with the Wizards at times this year, maybe more spread minutes today on the second end of the back-to-back in Toronto. Can move to the Toronto side of things where OG Anunoby is questionable with a right finger laceration. Gary Trent questionable with right foot plantar fasciitis. What are your notes on the Raptors?
Yeah, to keep an eye on OG's finger here. Definitely a chance he misses, but tough to get a read on how bad this is with the laceration. I think he'll probably try to play through it, but we thought he would play through the cramping thing a couple weeks ago and he didn't. So yeah, that'll be something to watch. And then Gary Trent plantar fasciitis is not good. I think he's a little bit less likely to play. I mean, there's a couple ways this can go. If OG's out, I think they would probably start McDaniels just for the on-ball defensive role. But it could be Grady Dick. I don't know if they feel comfortable there. So those would probably be the top two candidates. Could be Otto Porter, who's been more of OG's kind of slotting as a guard. So that would be a little bit weird and really make an iffy rotation. So I think it would be McDaniels, who usually subs in behind OG when he is playing. So him or Dick are probably in there. But I think OG is going to play. And then, no Trent should lock in Malachi Flynn's role, Grady Dick's role. And then, maybe we see McDaniels and all those guys.
Yeah, we did see Otto Porter Jr. close on occasion with Toronto, so there has been some mixing and matching, but notable that's been more of in bigger lineups, just generally, not necessarily considered a guard there. All right, let's move to Chicago and Milwaukee. Chicago on the second night of a back-to-back here. Alex Caruso missed yesterday's game. He's listed as doubtful today. Patrick Williams on the injury report with a left finger sprain listed probable. Perhaps notable, but no tag or listing on the injury report for guys like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, who we have seen popping up on back-to-backs before. I think this is the Bulls' third back-to-back of the season already. They've had kind of a difficult schedule from an injury maintenance standpoint. So what are your expectations on how things look for the Bulls on the second end of a back-to-back going into Milwaukee tonight?
Yeah, Alex Caruso is going to miss probably more time here. Billy Donovan said that he's, more almost like a week-to-week, not a day-to-day thing. So, yeah, I think he misses probably at least one more here, which, yeah, run it back. They're going to run this 9 out there. You're going to get a little bit more Ayo Dosunmu, a little bit more of Javon Carter, and then, maybe a little bit more of a minute ceiling for Torrey Craig and Patrick Williams. We know Torrey Craig's going to be really busy, going to get the Giannis assignment here, so we'll see if he can avoid fouls. And, yeah, I think that they'll have a pretty big minute ceiling. Kobe White also benefits. He's been playing a ton of minutes. I kind of like this matchup for him today as well. So, but we kind of know where we're at. And missing Caruso is a big deal. He's a huge impact defensively. I think that makes, I don't think the line moved because of it, but I think it maybe should.
Yeah.
I think Milwaukee can kind of run away with, the Bulls kind of having some tired legs last night with a pretty tight-ish game against the Pistons.
Yeah, I would note that Ayo picked up a lot of the spare playing time yesterday and played really, really well in that matchup. I think that's a little bit notable. It is a return home or revenge spot for Javon Carter. So maybe, especially if Damian Lillard is available, which we'll talk about in a second, maybe that promotes a little bit more for Javon Carter. But Carter and Dosunmu are guys that they view as sort of defenders in the defenders category. Certainly not the same type of defender as Alex Caruso, who they will use up in size against personnel. But in a matchup against Damian Lillard, it's possible that you see the roles expand for these two guys compared to Kobe White. That's just one note to make there. And Ayo was great last night in the game, ended up closing for them, played really, really well. Okay, let's move to the Milwaukee side of things. Jay Crowder listed out with the left groin strain here. Damian Lillard upgraded to probable with that calf injury. The tag note is interesting, though, because the tag note is injury management on the right calf. Which is just an interesting note coming off of missing a few games in a row. What are your thoughts on Damian Lillard's availability? We know the probable tags with the Bucks are troubling at times in the past with Giannis. So what are your thoughts on Dame's potential return and the loss of Jay Crowder?
Yeah, so I would keep an eye on this. Bucks probable, sure, but it sounds like he's going to play. So this right calf is trouble. This is the same right calf that he kind of got shut down for, whether that was a real injury or not. You could talk about. But he hurt this in the early part of the year, missed some time with this calf. He also hurt it in 2018. So this right calf is a problem. So I think that he does have a minutes limit. I don't think that they're going to play him upper 30s. So that will be something that we'll monitor. Curious if the market thinks he's going to play full, because I kind of don't. So that could be an opportunity there. And Campaign playing pretty well for them. I think he's a guy that would benefit. They'll probably overlap there. And then no Jay Crowder is kind of a big deal. We've seen Malik Beasley lose a ton of minutes to him. Adrian Griffin had mentioned they like to kind of close with Crowder in a bigger lineup. So I think we're going to see a lot of Marjon Beauchamp, especially for the wing defense that they're going to need. So I'm unsure. We love this matchup for Beasley, right? The Bulls have the highest 3-point frequency allowed, big 3-point funnel. So if he can kind of get cooking and hold his own defensively, I think there's a ceiling, but a terrifying floor if Beauchamp and Andre Jackson, who's been playing pretty well, could also nip at his minutes there. But definitely, benefits Malik Beasley somewhat substantially without Jay. And then obviously you've got the minutes limit for Middleton hanging around the 21-ish mark most games. But yeah, I think that's not changing. I don't think he's going to hit 24 anytime soon.
Yeah, I wanted to. This just reminded me to look at this because the rotations on Middleton on, I think that was Saturday night, were really strange to get to the 20 that he got. So he played just, I think it was 7.5 first half minutes. And it seemed like they were kind of priming. Thank you for getting on the screen. It seemed like they were kind of priming him to like where they're moving more of the minutes later in the game to kind of like conserve and save them available if they needed. This game ended up kind of getting out of hand, so they didn't really need them later. But that was something that was just a little bit notable to me, was that, really it was like they were going through this pattern of, if you look at those rotations for the first, second, third, fourth rotations, right? Those add up to like 16 minutes ish. And it seemed like they were saving the last 4 minutes to get like a fifth stint that's at the end of the game to have him available for like end of game situations. So just something that's sort of interesting in terms of how they're staggering these minutes. It might end up still being like 20 to 22 or whatever, but we might only have like 8 or 9 in the first half. And I don't know. I noticed it this game because there were fewer games on the slate. I was a little bit more locked in on this one. I don't know if that's the rotation they've specifically been using for him, but I thought it was notable that he only had like 7 or 8 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, they've been mixing it up. They used to run like heavy first halves, and then like early on, they were playing like, I want to say 13, 14 first half minutes, and then he would run the stint to start the third, and they would literally like call timeout to get him out of there with like 8 minutes left in the third to get him right in his minutes limit. And that changed a little bit. Last week we saw him play fourth quarter minutes for the first time, so they are kind of shifting things around to get him more minutes, which makes sense. You want to get to a bigger number. And they're kind of going about different ways. And then also, Dame coming back, does that change this? How they've been changing things. So there's a couple other things we've got to watch, but they have been mixing it up quite clearly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's an opportunity to kind of take advantage of that. But if they're mixing it up, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Maybe there might be an opportunity where if you saw something like Middleton with 7 first half minutes or whatever, and a points line on him was taken down mid-game, a live points line on him was taken down mid-game to adjust for a 7-minute half, maybe you would know that, hey, there's pretty likely here that they're going to ramp this up in the second half, something like that. Trying to think through ways to potentially take advantage of an odd rotation. But all right, last game of the slate, Cleveland and Sacramento. On the Cleveland side of things, thankfully for Cleveland, they've hit a stretch in their schedule where they've had some time to kind of take it all in, had a couple of days off. They're not playing back-to-backs as frequently as they were early in the season. So we've had some reprieve on the injury report for them. The notables here, Isaac Okoro is still out with that left knee injury. Sam Merrill listed questionable with illness. Do not expect Sam Merrill to be a normal part of the rotation anyway. What are your thoughts on what we've seen from Cleveland, who have slowly and steadily been kind of building their season back after a tough start to the season?
Yeah, we're still we've got full Garland. He's back to getting full minutes workload. He hasn't been as aggressive with his driving and handling. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell's off to a really good start. I think he's the 6th in scoring as well. Been great, man. Donovan Mitchell, and the other kind of just macro thing is their pace has been really strong. They're kind of in the middle of the pack offense. Donovan Mitchell's leading the NBA in transition points per game. That's added another layer to his upside, and I think he could really, really go ham. Cover boy for me. I'm really big into Donovan Mitchell, and Jared Allen's minutes haven't quite spiked yet. Curious to see if he can get into the low 30s here today, because he's dealing with a little bit of a more serious injury from the bone bruise in his ankle. But yeah, Max Strus benefits as well against not having a core behind him is really, really beneficial. And then De'Aaron Fox unlikely also helps because you don't need the on-ball defense as much there. So yeah, expecting the starters to play quite a bit. Jared Allen probably not quite ready for a full workload, but Garland is, Mitchell is, and should mention JB Bickerstaff said that Donovan Mitchell's conditioning is second to none, and we've seen him. He will play him a lot of minutes, but the increased pace is great. So I think Donovan Mitchell has a little bit extra layer to his upside tonight.
I've been pretty encouraged by the role for Max Strus as well. Even without Isaac Okoro, just like the way that they're using him in dribble handoffs and trusting him. He's also rebounded the ball really well. Like, this is an ideal line for me as like a fantasy player to see from like a Max Strus, who I have in this industry pickup league. But like 16 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 6 of 9 shooting, 2 threes. Perfect. No notes. Great game, Max Strus. Would love to see more of that. Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox listed doubtful on that right ankle sprain. Doubtful is an upgrade from the out tag that we've had the last few games with De'Aaron Fox. We still have the out tag for Trey Lyles, who's still dealing with that left calf strain. What are your notes on De'Aaron Fox's potential return?
Yeah, so his chat is mentioning De'Aaron Fox went through shoot around, so he's still doubtful. There was pretty gloomy commentary from Mike Brown at practice saying that they weren't like ready to put a timetable on Fox. So I'd be pretty shocked if he played. Keep your 28 after alarms on though, because they might upgrade him here, which would obviously nuke Keon Ellis, Davion, who they're going to need for these guards, which Mike Brown talked a lot about that they're going to need him here. So I would be pretty surprised if we get an upgrade. But hey, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready for these injury reports if you're logged in at 28 after. But should be Keon played pretty well over the weekend. Really nice win for them. Not for me, who
not
hit,
for
who
our
hit
pockets
pretty aggressively. Yeah, my pockets took a hit on this one. Just really iffy play from OKC. But Keon and Davion are going to probably split the minutes mostly. Maybe they'll run together a little bit. But and then Sabonis has been just dominating touches without Fox. He's last 4 games he's actually beating Joker for front court touches per game, despite having a 3 and change fewer minutes per game. So his role is just massive here. Matchups garbage against the big Cavs here, but and then Keegan's minutes are kind of back. We were a little bit worried about him, but I think
he was great.
I think everybody's kind of back on track. Yeah.
He was great. We were very critical of his performance on Friday's show. He was awesome. Him and Kayvon. We saw the return of Kayvon, both of them last game out. If this news does hit in 10 minutes, let's say we get the upgrade. Let's talk through that just quickly for the people who are thinking about being ready for bets and whatnot. I think if we got an upgrade, it would be an upgrade to questionable, right? I don't think we'd get an upgrade to like probable or something like that. I would be pretty surprised. Yeah. So an upgrade to questionable. Are you firing on an upgrade to questionable for De'Aaron Fox today?
Depends on what's being lined. I would roll it. I would roll the dice off if like Keon or Davion or
those guys aren't going to be lined. Those guys probably aren't going to be lined. So I'm saying like game. So that was going to be my next question. Is like where would you be going? Would you be going to game total spread? Would you be going to Herder lines, Monk lines, Keegan lines? Like where would you be looking at?
Yeah, Herder lines for sure. I would be hitting Herder like under PAs and all that stuff. So yeah, that's probably where I would go first. But Jim mentioned really quick, Mike Brown really talked him up. He said he's buying in defensively and doing what he needs to do. And again, that reflects in the line, right? 34 minutes, 28 points. Arguably his best game of the year there. So I would be. I think that there's enough to hit it. Against a good defense as well. He'll probably have a soft-ish matchup. Whether it's probably Mitchell on him. So I think that it's a little scary to take that, but I think it makes sense if you get a little upgrade. Because usually, I don't know, just based on Mike Brown's comments, though, I'd be pretty shocked. So
you'd be pretty shocked if Fox plays.
Yeah, if he gets even an upgrade.
Okay. Yeah, my first thought with this matchup specifically was Malik Monk. Because in this matchup specifically, if they need the defense of Davion Mitchell and Fox isn't coming off if they're not playing Fox and Monk together very much, and they're certainly not playing Fox, Monk and Mitchell together very much, there's a chance that Monk's minutes kind of craters. That was the first inkling of where I would go if I was trying to anticipate Fox returning tonight, which based on all indications, even with a full shoot around, I think they're going to be pretty cautious on Fox. So I'm still thinking it's the next game away for them. Okay. And should note for them, the next game away is 3 days from now. So it's also like, if they sit him now, there's another 3 days that he's probably good. And the next game away is in-season tournament game. So, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. They do play Wednesday. They play Wednesday against the Lakers, which conference game. So you could say
ESPN,
that's
more national important. TV game as well.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. That will do it for this edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. As always, if you like the content that we're providing here, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, get notifications whenever we go live. And of course, check out all of the content that we offer behind the paywall at establishedrun.com. subscribe-MBA afterestablished.com will get you information on our NBA player props packages, our NBA in-season DFS packages that include Mike Gallagher's matchup column, 5 live shows a week with myself, Mike Gallagher, Gary Hartman, behind the paywall at 5 o'clock Eastern each and every day. Top plays 6 times a week, projections updating constantly throughout the course of every single day that there are NBA games. So check out the packages on our subscribe page for more information there. If you're interested in the props package, which is off to a very, very, very strong start this season, please do read that FAQ. We've had a lot of people joining in the last few weeks, and you can tell they're surprised by the pace at which with which lines move and all these things. We really, really highly encourage reading that FAQ if you're even considering, because it is challenging to get caught up to speed quickly with how quickly bets move and whatnot. But we are feeling really good about the start that we have going on there. 98-42 is the record through the first 3 weeks of the season, plus 49.5 units. All right. As always, if you do like this content, please support it by caressing gently, pressing firmly, holding down, or smashing that like button. It helps feed the algorithm, which helps feed our families. We continue to feed you the NBA injury information and analysis you need each and every day to make your spread bets, prop bets, DFS lineups, and so on and so forth. So smash that like button, feed the algorithm. It helps feed our families. Nom, 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 nom. We'll see you next time.